Hello and welcome back to Mysti-Fi, your go-to destination for mystery sci-fi movie recaps. Today we're diving into another episode of Black Mirror called Joan is Awful. Before we begin, I want to remind you that this video may contain spoilers. Without further ado, let's head straight to the story. Joan wakes up and goes to work. Eric talks to her about Sandy. She later receives a message from Mac. Joan tells Sandy she's letting her go. Sandy begs her not to do it, but the security comes to escort her out. Joan is upstairs and she accidentally drops her vape on Sandy's head. Joan hides, but Sandy knows it's her and tells her she's a coward. Joan goes to her therapist to talk about her job, her boyfriend Krish being a bit vanilla, and compares him to her ex Mac. She also reveals she feels like she's not the main character in her own life story. Mac sends her a message again, asking her to meet with him. They meet at a restaurant and Mac tells her he wants to be with her. Joan tells him he can't leave Trish. They kiss, but Joan regrets meeting him and she leaves. She gets home and she watches Streamberry with Trish. They go through the selection and they notice a show called Joan is Awful. They play the show and immediately notice all the similarities between Joan and the Joan, played by Salma Hayek. Sandy, Mac and Eric also start watching the show. The show starts to become too eerily similar with what happened to Joan throughout the day. She starts to have a panic attack. Although things are too similar, there are some details that are different, like the way Joan answers people, and intentionally dropping the vape on Sandy's head, making her look mean. Then the show reveals Mac texting Joan, her going to a therapist and then meeting and kissing Mac. Trish sees all of these and Joan tells him some details in the show are blown out of proportion. But Trish decides to get his stuff and leaves. In the show, it gets to the part where Joan and Trish see the Joan is Awful show. Cate Blanchett plays Joan there. The next day, she goes to work and Eric tells her the board wants her out. She gets her things and leaves, and that also ends up on the show with some details changed. She goes to her lawyer and finds out that Streamberry can legally do the show because she agreed to the service's terms and conditions when she signed up for a Streamberry account. She then decides to sue Salma Hayek for passing herself off as her, but the lawyer reveals it's actually not Salma Hayek, but an AI-generated likeness of Salma Hayek. Salma licensed her image to Streamberry. Basically, the show is entirely CGI, generated by an advanced computer. Joan asks how they know what goes on with her life. The lawyer says they can hear everything through her phone. Joan points out that the show makes her look worse than she really is, so she wants to sue them for defamation, but the lawyer reveals that it's also a part of the terms and conditions she agreed to. Joan watches the lawyer scene and comes up with an idea. She eats a bunch of burgers and drinks laxatives. Then she goes to a wedding wearing a cheerleader outfit and takes a dump. Salma Hayek does the same thing in the show, so Joan's plan worked. Salma goes to her lawyer and complains about the scene, but he reveals it's part of the contract with Streamberry she agreed to. She wants to sue them, but the lawyer tells her there's no way they can sue them. She goes to Joan's house to talk to her. They come up with a plan. They want to go to Streamberry's headquarters to destroy the computer. Salma goes there and tells the front desk she has an appointment with Mona Javadi, the CEO of Streamberry. She tells her it's not in the system, so Salma asks for a private restroom. She and Joan sneaks in and sees Mona having an interview. They listen to the interview and Mona reveals that Joan is Awful is just the beginning and the goal is to launch unique and tailored content to each Streamberry subscriber. The interviewer asks why awful, and everything seems to be negative. Mona tells her they did try a more affirmative content but subjects didn't buy it, but when they focus more on their weak, selfish and craven moments, it puts them in a state of mesmerized horror, which drives engagement. Salma and Joan get to the room where the computer is. Joan sees herself on the screen. Bep reveals she's not the original Joan. Source Joan is the real Joan. He also reveals that she is just a version of Joan played by the digital likeness of the actress Annie Murphy. Source Joan lives in reality, so when Source Joan watches the Joan is Awful show, she sees Annie Murphy playing her, similar to how she sees Salma Hayek playing her in the show and how Salma Hayek sees Cate Blanchett playing her in the show as well. Joan knocks him out and they proceed to destroy the computer. Mona and her security get to them and she tells Joan that destroying the computer will kill billions of simulated souls. Joan realizes that the world that they are in is based on what already happened in reality. She starts hitting the computer and things start to glitch into reality. The real Joan successfully destroyed the computer. Joan is arrested but she's happy. She talks to her therapist and tells her she's dating again, reveals she's her own boss now, and proud of what she does. She added that she feels like the main character of her own life now. Annie Murphy goes to Joan's coffee shop and is revealed that they are both under house arrest. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new release. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.